Here we go, baby. Jets 55 is back. Philly from Cali, the man from beautiful New Jersey, all via Brooklyn. Are we dreaming, man? Are we dreaming? You know what? I'm excited. Oh yeah, let's curtail it. Let's relax. I'm not going to relax. I'm going to enjoy every second of the madness, the possibilities, the dream, the hopes. You know what? Because spring training, the Mets, I had a funny feeling. I didn't enjoy anything, and then they imploded. I'm not hoping for the Jets to implode, but I'm going to enjoy every second of what could be through August. Enjoy it, be happy, smile, hope for the best, and let's see what happens when the shits hit the fan. And let's start it off, buddy. You know what?
Absolutely. Yeah, this is
I
great.
did,
Starting
I
off
did,
on a positive note. What's that
I
about?
did.
What the hell?
Positive note. I didn't want to watch it. I
Yeah.
didn't want to look at it. I wasn't going to touch it. By the way, my shirt, I think all the working out I do, it's getting a little tight. But anyway,
Every time we know. Every week you got to go there. We know.
you know what?
Yeah.
Gun to your head, buddy. Gun to your head. Gun to your head. Who wins in a fight, Sal or me?
Yeah. Good luck. Man, is he something or what? He's
Here's the better question. Does he knock me out in 3 seconds, 2 seconds, or does he knock me out in 1 second?
that guy. He could play right now. He looks like it. He's like.
Well, you see what he does in practice?
Yeah.
Or whatever team F's up, they do the push-ups, and he always does whoever. So it's all the time. He does the push-ups with him.
Yeah.
But
He's
anyway,
no. He's
yeah,
unique. He's.
yeah, he is. He
And
is. But
know, you've been saying it. We've been talking about this forever. We want a tandem where you have the coach, head coach, GM for 10 years, 10 or 15 years, and go through that's what we want at this point in our lives. At this age, if we could get 10 years, if we live 10, 15 years, and this is the guy, and this is what they're going to do, and they win a few times, it's a perfect ending.
Listen, we've been asking this. Obviously, we feel the same way about Jets, Mets, Rangers, Knicks. I've always asked, can I get a 10, 15-year coach? I mean, but manager, coach, whatever. But you know what? This is what we're hoping for. And listen, let's go straight back at it. I know I delayed it, but I did not want to watch it again. Hard Knocks, I liked it.
Yeah,
I
it's
thought it was
great.
a good show. I think the Jets are going to bring Hard Knocks back in a good light because
I think you're right. I think it was great. It was fun.
I think the Jets did a good job.
Did a great job of playing around with the voice of God. Schreiber. That was really fun. And
I also thought Salah sat down. He sat down and he talked to them and he had that good session. And he wasn't being an a-hole. He was really cool with them. And I think the Jets are going to help Hard Knocks, which adds again tonight the second one. So I enjoyed it. I enjoyed what they showed. It was a little more interaction. I like seeing obviously the plays. A lot of it was Rodgers. I hope a little bit, maybe a little less Rodgers, but we'll see. We'll see.
That's a good point because think about it. If you're not a fan like we are, you're watching this for Aaron Rodgers. You want to see that part of the story.
Absolutely.
So if they didn't in the first one go deep with that, clown around with that, and you see, because don't forget this, who do you think is watching most with the biggest microscope, the biggest, up close and personal? The Wisconsin fans, right? They want to see how he's doing in this new role, if he's different than what he was in Green Bay, and so far all points directed to the fact that he's completely different, he's a different guy, blah 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 blah. We see that, we hope that, but you got all kinds of people that are going to be interested. Ratings, I'm sure tonight I think is the next one. That's going to be an interesting one because now the first one they had the Hall of Fame game. Great. You had the whole Klecko, Revis weekend and all of that. That's all behind us. All the preamble is over. I want to see what Hard Knocks is about tonight. It's going to be more about the competition, I think. So we're going to take a good look at that tonight. And next week or a few days, we'll talk about Hard Knocks and then the next game. But overall, I don't see anything wrong. I think, you got Garrett Wilson and Sauce, and you got these guys showing, the excitement and how, can I have your autograph for Aaron Rodgers? Okay, we get all that over with, I was watching when I was a baby kind of stuff, like, oh God, it's like, so
Like
once
us.
it's true. Once these guys, it's true. No, once these guys get over the hump on the show with that part of it, and they really take a look at this team, man, it's a good team. It's a good team. And we're going to get into that in a minute. We're going to talk about in a minute both games because we didn't talk after the first one. Okay. But let me tell you something right now. And we have been doing this since 67. And we have said this each week coming into this. This team right now, and any guy out there that has been a fan all the way through like we have, I dare you to disagree. This is the best top to bottom situation we have ever seen for the New York Jets.
I think, listen, probably the closest thing you can go back to that, is the first 2 years of Rex and the first year with Parcells, or second year with Parcells, with Vinny Testaverde when they got to the Curtis Mon, and they got to that championship game against Denver. And obviously we all know what happened there. But in terms of, like you're saying, I think top to bottom in terms of coaches, young scouting people, the newness of it all, guys that could be like, Parcells wasn't going to be around. Even if even if he won a bunch of Super Bowls, he wasn't going to be around 10, 15 years, obviously.
Yes, was on his last legs. He was like, right. Come back one more year, he was about to die. So the team was going to be in turmoil. That's what I mean. The organization and the leadership, top to bottom, is the year of this program now. You've got some veterans that have been there. You've got some new blood that is really good. You got the rookies of the year deal, right? We went over that. And, you've got a Hall of Fame quarterback running the show now. I mean, God,
oh, here we go.
And no, even with Sanchez back then, they were good, but the running game was nothing like what it's going to be now. Okay. We'll talk about that in a few minutes too. And, when Martin was there, yeah, but Vinny at the time, Vinny Testaverde, he was a really good quarterback, but he would make those blunders. He'd make those mistakes. And I loved him because he went and played where he was supposed to play. He didn't do like the Steve Young. I'm not going to the USFL. I'm not going to the Bucks. I'm going to go play in the USFL. And then he waits to go to a great situation and sits behind Montana. No, a guy like Testaverde just took his bumps and bruises, did what he did, and that's what named it.
I got on FAN. I went on FAN for the one time I ever went, years and years ago. I mean, I'm living in Lindenhurst at the time. So you're talking about what? You're talking about the 90s. And I went on because Mad Dog was kind of ragging into Vinny. And I'm like, what are you talking about? Exactly. I said that. Yeah, he wasn't a gutless coward like we know, who. And he played in Tampa Bay, took his lumps. And now he started lighting it up. And he actually agreed with me because, let's see how he does. And he wound up doing great. And obviously, we know it wound up being a nightmare with the fumble and everything else happening, and Mo Lewis cracking Bledsoe when the extra step. And that continued.
If this guy was on a legitimate team in the beginning, he would have had numbers that would make him borderline for the Hall of Fame. Honestly,
they had a shot. Listen, that's it. That third year. Yeah. Listen, that third year in the Parcells, if he doesn't crack that little bone, football history would have been different. Football history, but listen, where we are right now is something we've never seen before. You're right. Always scared. You still think can it be an implosion? Like I said, I'm enjoying the ride. I'm not saying, well, it's a little early. The Hall of Fame game, they look good. Carolina, they look great. It's preseason. Everybody's telling me, well, they want to get the Carolina started. They want to get the Carolina started, but you know what? Carolina wasn't that good a team.
Let's go back to the first one first. You're right, because that game nobody played except maybe Zach. And he got his feet wet for a little bit, and through that one pass, you heard Aaron Rodgers throw deep. So that was fun. They established the communication that Zach Wilson is now learning again. This is what this guy should have been doing from the get-go. I don't know what's going to happen with him. Who knows? But he's in the best position for him. And now you got Rodgers throw it to him, throws a 56-yard pass. What does that show? He could do it. It's like he could throw a pass, and as you watch that game, again, it was a bunch of guys just, it wasn't the real deal yet, but you still saw some flashes. They did okay. But it was the Hall of Fame and Revis and all of that, which was great. Thomas, blah, blah, blah. Now you're right. You turn the page to Carolina. Okay. That was a real game, a goal there, because they wanted to see, because he made the decision, and you just said it, and you're right. But Saleh decided, I'm going to go with my number twos up front on defense, knowing that it's against their number ones, right? Forget about, the quarterback, Bryce, there, right? Because Andy Dalton's not that great anyway. So I have no problem that this kid, he's going to be in there before you know it anyway. He's a good quarterback. But my point is, up front on defense, when you're going against the number one, the ones, and you're working to move up the ladder, you have a big chance. And man, what they did was unreal, ridiculous. Forget about the offense. That was great too. But when you have guys, like Jermaine Johnson flying.
Hey, let me tell you, Jermaine Johnson looked like he was possessed.
Yeah.
And I hope I don't hear about Huff being trade bait, because why is every time I watch a football game and Huff is in the game, you hear his name. McDonald looks like he's going to be one of those generational players.
Well, he's got the right number, because he does the spin, he gets to the quarterback, he wraps his arm. He's a sack man, and he's quick. And I think you got to watch out for him. So that's going to, put some headaches out there when he comes in situationally. Clemens, you had, of course, this other guy, Quentin Jefferson, was in there. He put him on. I think he's the guy. No, Solomon Thomas put Bryce Young on his belly. Like, oh my God, what a shot! Him and Bryce Huff. These are all second string guys going against their starters, and they manhandled them. It was men against boys. It's just, imagine if you got Franklin Myers, JFM there. You got this guy Al Woods as the left tackle now, Quinnen Williams, and then Carl Lawson as the starters, with these guys waiting, chomping at the bit to come in. Oh my God, Finn. And then I saw this guy, I think Nick Vigil, is it, or something? He's a linebacker, backup linebacker. You heard on Hard Knocks, Saleh goes, this is my guy, I think that's who he's talking about. And then he hits somebody, goes, yeah, that was in the first Hard Knocks. And he had a good, they, from top to bottom, special teams too, phenomenal.
Right now, Moorhead is pumping lights out. It's what's the nickname to call our kicker? Oh my God, he is unbelievable. Yeah, he is just kicking them like lights out. So let's hope that stays throughout the season. That's always been a big headache. But yeah, top to bottom, what you're looking at is that this team could be not. What's scary? We're not thinking it could be great. We're thinking it could be real special, and that's a scary thing when you're thinking these guys this could be something special. Of course, it's going to be
guys like Huff could emerge. He could emerge and steal some time from these other guys. Right. They're all good. He wants to keep everybody fresh. So you got, with this rotation, 10 or 11 guys. So you plug these guys in, boom, boom, boom. You pull somebody out, and you bring in, Jermaine Johnson. My God, Clemens. Solomon Thomas. All these guys, you rotate them in and out, in and out. I'm excited.
A personal thing I need. Mike Clemens is the scariest dude on earth. He wants to be great, and he really, that voice of his is incredible. But the thing is, the way to describe that guy, alpha male and all this stuff, I want to see that guy. I need that guy to wreak havoc when he's out there. He had a good year last year. He was a rookie. He did well. I need him as much as they're talking about him, I need him to wreak havoc, and I hope he does. But yeah, it's an endless amount of, we went from, they needed, for like years, they needed an edge rusher. It's an endless amount of guys. It's going to be a crazy next 3 weeks. Of course, you got 5 tight ends in the room. You got 5 running backs in the room.
Yeah,
It's
and
absolutely. And who's going to be
who's
the
going to
sixth?
get cut? Who the hell's going to get? We're going to get into that. But yeah, you're right. But that is a big question, and that's
Be
a
fun.
good problem to have.
Yes,
So we're
it'll
going
be
to
a
get
lot
to
of
that.
fun.
The other thing, aside from the defense, you got to talk about Wilson. Because the guy did a great job. I'm going to say, look, he had 6 possessions. He threw one pass up high, and I forgot who the running back was. And you heard who was the announcer? That guy from Carolina, the receiver. I'm blanking on his name. And he was like, "Oh, huh?
On the tight end.
No,
Who's
the
on?
receiver." He's like, he's an announcer. He did a good job. He separated him from the ball, whatever. And then you see the replay, and he's like, "Oh, he says because the ball was way up north. Forget the guy had no chance." So then you see that was clearly a bad throw. A couple of other times he led guys into harm's way, but the passes were not picked. They weren't picked. You see that Zach Wilson, they scored 3 out of the first 6 possessions, right? He's moving the ball. They're running the ball, which we'll get to, but he's hitting the tight ends. He's doing what he has to do, and he's gone, taking what he's supposed to take. And that.
Yeah, and if you see, he did really well. What he was horrific at, and that was that little easy short pass where he was a total mess. He did great, and there was a video of him at the end of the game talking to Hackett, and Hackett telling him when he brought him in for that score at the end of the half. Hackett was admitting that he's talking into his helmet. It was all, and Hackett was like a mess released in the huddle, and Zach kind of like just took it upon himself, and he got the TD. So it was pretty hilarious. Listen,
when you look at that, don't go off that too fast because
I'm going to root for that. Listen, I'm going to root for this kid. I'm going to root for the kid.
That Hackett installation of
Yeah.
the offense is so clear now. Look at like you just said, a really important thing that I wanted to bring up too. Look at the advancement, because the only thing different about that play was that it wasn't Rodgers, because he did the same thing. He did the play fake was perfect. The guy was wide open and he just flicked it, and he even jumped up. He's like, he never jumped up like Rodgers does, like Favre used to do. The kid is just with his idol. He's having fun. There's no pressure on him, and he's making the best of his own ability right now. And the development is happening. And that touchdown, the only thing different was the number. It could have been 8, honestly, because if you watch the replay, anybody out there, just before the half, it was great. And the way he managed the clock, and it was just really, really, really exciting. And then the defense comes in, boom, 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 boom. There's nothing going on, and then they're back on controlling the clock. I mean, what the hell are we watching? So.
It's madness right now. It's beautiful. It's craziness. But now where are we with the signing of who? Where are we? Who's out? How many running backs do you hold? I mean, what do you go with 4? So who's out?
Well, look, you got to really, when you start to think about it, go crazy. But signing this guy, Cook, gives Breece Hall, everybody says it's going to give him the time to get right, will slow him down. I think this guy wants to play from day one, game 1. I think he wants to show he's ready, and he wants to start game 1. They're going to have to hold him back because this guy Cook, don't forget, isn't ready. He still has his shoulder, whatever. So you might see Hall even participate in the first game. I thought maybe they injured reserve him, missed 4 games. What the heck? You got this guy now, no problem. Yeah, he's out there practicing today. So, but that's what it is with this team. They're all like the defensive line. They're all into.
I think there's a chance Breece will start, and I think Cook was brought in because that injury is still a tough one to figure out. And if he has a setback, instead of like, okay, Izzy, Mike, Bam, well, now you got a proven veteran who's done it for a lot of years. There's some negative things. He doesn't pass block as well, but blah, 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 blah. But you got a proven smash mouth, super speed runner. and maybe they feel comfortable about that. And I think that's maybe why they brought him in. If I have to take a guess, odd man out, I think Carter's been doing really good. The little I see of him, he looks really great. Michael Carter, he was a second round pick, so I think the
He
odd
did
man.
okay. Yeah,
I think Bam. I think Bam. I like him. I think he's the odd man out.
yeah. I think so. I think because I think Izzy, boy, he's got a lot to learn too, but he did that spin move to get down to the goal line, and he just got free. He's quick, he's got explosive tendencies. He's good, you know. And you know, if Carter does what he's capable of doing and isn't lost, like last year he looked lost in spots.
What happened?
What a situational back situation we're going to have, because you have Brees Hall or Cook, either one, home run capability, and then you got Carter, who was getting some of the tough yards there, but he wasn't in long enough to know what he could do. But you're right about Bam. That's rough that he might be the guy to go. But if you practice squad any one of them, someone's going to grab him. So you're not going to keep them. So you can't really do that. You got to move Izzy to special teams, and you got to keep, you got to try to keep four. I mean, four of them. I don't know. That's crazy though.
But with Cook, you have to keep four. But then there's five of them. So I think
I'm saying if you just leave Izzy as special teams and he's an emergency back, fifth back, like leave him on the active roster. But if Knight goes, what are they going to do? Release him? I mean, I mean, he's too good to just let go.
they might, they might try to get him on a practice squad, but it's not going to last. And then you got the same situation. Listen, Uzama, Conklin, and Ruckett. I love Ruckett. Blocking animal for a tight end. Still has great hands and runs great route. He didn't have to do anything with much of that with Ohio State, because they had three receivers that went in the first round. But I love the kid. So that's going to be the three. And then you got Kuntz, that 6'8" guy, and then you got Yeboah. So how many tight ends do you hold on to?
It's a problem, and it's a good problem. But I think if you put Izzy on the practice squad, that's probably the move. But you're going to lose him, man. Someone's going to.
No, it's not going to be Izzy. It's going to be Bam. I'm telling you, definitely not going to be Izzy. I mean, that's my take on it.
But I don't think practice squad for him, because he played last year. He was he was active roster the whole year. I don't see that.
But I don't know, man. I guess they could do that with Izzy, but I see too much with him. So it's going to be interesting how it plays out. You're right.
He's phenomenal. He's great.
That reason it might be. You're right. It might be Izzy, but wow, what a crazy situation to be in.
Buddy, we still got a couple of weeks. Who knows if some guy, they'll do something like maybe Brees isn't going to be ready, and they might do the injured reserve thing for 4 games. Who knows? Cook might not be ready, so he's not active 1 week, the first game. So who's going to make the cut? But you also have guys like Brownlee and this other guy, Carter. The receivers. You got all these guys that are all contributing at a high level. That's ridiculous.
Who's going to be the 6th receiver?
Yeah, I mean,
want to pull it on to Corey Davis. You got Lazard, you got Garrett Wilson, and obviously you got Hardman. So you got
and Cobb.
Yeah, and you got Cobb. You got your. Who are they gonna hold on to? Brownlee. Kind of not saying he's not fading. He's doing really well, but hasn't been a lot of throws to him lately. So who's it gonna be?
Well, this is the one this week that you're really gonna see, because he's got tough decisions. Like I saw a video today from Saturday, and Salah's all about that with the violence. He doesn't mean like kill someone, but hitting and really the speed with which you hit or whatever. And he looks for that. We've talked about this before. That's what he looks for in the tape. He says the tape doesn't lie. So he said something like, you play so when we look at the tape, we see what you wanted to do, right? And you guys did that today. So right at the end of the game, he said all 3 phases of the game, you gave us some great tape to look at. So this guy is so excited because they're doing what he's asked of them and at a very high level. And they shut a team out. I mean, and again, the backups on defense shut out Carolina. They put points up every level on offense, So I mean, look, I don't know, man. It's too crazy exciting to really. I mean, I don't know. I mean, Vin, really, have you? This is nuts. It's like it's going to be rough the first 6 games. We know that, but you know, if
Well,
they
I'm happy. Are you happy with three? You happy with 3-3? That's the big number, everybody. ESPN, no matter where you go, SNY. Are you happy with 3-3 to start?
You know what, dude? I don't want to be a jerk and say that. I says I want to be happy with 1-0. If they go out and beat Buffalo, they could go 4-2. They can. If they could go out Monday night, I'm going to be with you. We're going to be out there, and you know, if they beat Buffalo, they could beat anybody, right? Why can't they? You think Buffalo doesn't think they could beat Kansas City? You think Buffalo doesn't think they could beat New England? You don't think they think that Buffalo, if you're Buffalo, you're the Buffalo Bills, you don't think you could beat these teams that they're playing? Like the Eagles, okay, they're really deep and rough and all this too, but I have to believe if they could go out and take care of business with Buffalo, they have to believe then that they could take care of New England. They could take care of, Kansas City, Dallas Cowboys. Everybody has that. They got look every year. It's the Jerry Jones baloney. That come on, the Cowboys. Look, man. I see them going in there and beating the hell out of them. I do. So yeah, I don't think the Cowboys are that good. I mean, maybe I'm an idiot. I sound like a jerk, but every year they go into the Super Bowl and they don't. They're not that deep. So I think the Jets could go put a hurt on them. So if you beat Buffalo, you go in Dallas and beat them. Call me crazy, but yeah, 3-3 at the beginning. Just get the first one, and then we'll see. All right, I don't know, but we'll see what happens.
I don't even know how I'm going to make it to the first game.
Well, the old line, buddy, is the deal. That's the one we got to talk about. That's the one that's going to give us odds.
Here's a prediction. I made well, not a prediction. I mentioned I want Mike Clemens to wreak havoc. Here's a prediction. I think, because everybody keeps saying Dwayne Brown, Dwayne Brown, Dwayne Brown. I think Becton
7 is back. Yeah.
Is the left tackle to start the year.
Yeah. I mean, he played 27.
He's getting better and better. They're getting better and better.
Better and better.
He's getting better and better. He's getting more snaps. He gave up that one sack. They said it was him. It really wasn't him, but we'll say it was him. And then after that, he shut him down from any kind of pass rush. And then he did some vicious blocks in the running game.
Yeah,
I say he's the week 1 left tackle starter.
You know what? I agree. I think Dwayne Brown has to first be healthy and ready, and I don't think he will. So maybe that's the way in for him. And I think Joe Tippmann's going to win the center job. He looked phenomenal both weeks. He looked.
Well, there was some. He is out in space.
So huh?
He is perfect out in space. With that screen and all the other stuff, and hitting the right guy and being in the right spot, he was absolutely flawless. So the thing is, there was a little blurb, a little rumor, because Tomlinson had a bad year. I like Tomlinson. He really disappointed last year. He really did. So there's someone was saying you put Tippmann to get him in the game at guard just to have him in there. So I don't know. So
I don't know. I think
I want Mitchell. I don't want Mitchell playing left tackle anymore. Can you just, to me, put Mitchell at right tackle, and then and let Becton, man, Becton.
Mitchell struggled, man. He didn't look so great.
But he struggled a lot of
struggled,
But he struggled at left tackle. I had him playing left tackle for a while. Leave him at right tackle, man. Of course, he took his lumps last year, but every game he got better and better. That again. So let's see, man. Put him in his rightful spot, and let's see. But the thing getting Tippmann in there, I don't know, but maybe he will.
Tucker's got dealing with an ankle right now a little bit.
How bad is that? Because I'm getting a little pissed. Is he going to be one of those guys now? Is he going to be one of those guys?
He's got something going there. So, I'd love to see him play guard. I think he was such a great guard. And I think you got enough guys. If Mitchell proves it, and Becton can go back to the left side, but really do the job with Tomlinson. And I say Tippmann, let McGovern be that extra guard or whatever, I think Tippmann, just let him be your Mangold now. Bring him in. That's it. It's your job, man. He looks that good. But we'll
That's
see.
it a lot.
He's
But the
getting all
thing
the
is,
first team reps right now this week.
right. He
But we'll
went
see.
from 2 weeks ago from working with the third stringers to almost every play in the Hall of Fame game, and then just playing 3 full quarters against Carolina. And he looks like a beast. He's big. Everybody's like, "Oh, he's too tall." He knows how to squat and be down. He's a big boy.
Right. And they also got that offensive line coach, the guy that was, I think, was it the Titans? So they got guys working with each one of these guys, and getting the most that they can out of them right now. And that goes back to Saleh once again. I think he knows what he wants, and he's getting it. Look, what you just said is, if we have left tackle Becton, Tomlinson, I know you do too. Well, let's say Tippmann gets it, and then Tucker. Well, now you got a bunch of guys that could play right tackle. You could have this guy Turner. You could have Mitchell. And if Becton does well, does Brown get the job when he comes back and he moves to right tackle? I don't know, but it's going to be very, very interesting.
He's been around a long time. Maybe he's a very formidable backup. But the thing is, it would be, if Becton, man, you get him and you get a full season, he does well. It's like found money. It's like found gold.
Well, it's like, in the old days when, we talk about the Mets and then the Yankees, right? When the Yankees were winning their championship, sometimes you'd get a half a great year out of a pitcher, and you had enough where boom, boom, they would put it together, and that spot won, 18, 19, 20 games every year, instead of just one guy. If it takes two guys playing left tackle and they play at a really high level, so what? If it's 6, 7, 8 games with one guy and another guy comes in, they have to be interchangeable. Vera Tucker can't go down this year. Becton can't go down this year, and those guys, you're asking a lot for that not to happen. That's like asking Scherzer and the other guy to win 20 games each out of the chute. So who knows? But they do have contingency plans. They've got Cologne. Who's the other guy? They got Schweitzer. And there are enough guys that they could plug in. But now, if you do that though, and you have Cook as a running back, you're not going to get away with it if you cheat up in the box, because he'll make you miss even if you're cheating up. But why would you cheat with all those receivers? So the defenses they play, they have to be true. So the O-line just has to sustain blocks, and he'll get rid of the ball quickly.
Obviously, that's the thing. You're talking about a totally different world from last year. You go back to that horrible, horrific, Zach Wilson was at his lowest, that Jaguar game where the Jaguar defense is looking phenomenal and they're obliterating Zach Wilson. And I'm in a bar watching this, and I'm texting a friend of mine, and he says, I'm going. He's going, yeah, the O-line is horrible. The O-line is horrible. And I said, well, I don't know. It looks like Zach doesn't know where he is. So then they take Zach out and they bring in they want him cutting him. What's his name?
Well, he's on injured reserve. He's hurt.
Injured reserve.
Yeah.
Strevla. So they bring in Strevla, and next thing you know, they're going up and down the field. They didn't finish the job because LaFleur did a terrible job when he got the guy in the red zone. But now all of a sudden Strevla's coming in. They're going up and down the field, and I text my friend back, and I'm like, wow, funny how the offensive line looks now. Right. How do you like me now? But the whole thing is, this is Rodgers, man. Obviously, you got to protect him, but it's going to be a whole different scenario in terms of vision, knowing what he's reading, the release. It's a whole different world.
But you got to watch out for But you got to watch out for the late hits. What you got to watch out for is when you don't finish your blocks and guys come in late and they get flagged for something, but then he's on the ground and he's hurt. So, the offensive lines that keep guys away the whole time. The play is over and you go back to the other. That's what you want. But if they hold it just long enough for him to make a play, he still is going to run the risk of being hurt. So you want more than that. But you're right. They had enough of that last year, but he wasn't ready for that, Wilson. But now I think with the new scheme, with the new installation and him getting used to it, if he had to step in, listen, when the blue light goes on, right? Lights are on, it's showtime, man. It's not easy, it's scary. But look, this kid now, this is not a team that would be looking to him for leadership. This is now a team with a lot of leaders that if he ever had to step in, all he has to do is be the backup and do well, be the Mike White.
Listen, with Brees Hall playing before he got hurt, Zach Wilson was doing a good job. He only would be thrown for 150, 160 yards, but it would be one TD, no interceptions, or two TDs, and one of them to Brees Hall, and then him running ripshod. So he was able to handle it. Then when Brees Hall went down and Michael Carter didn't step up and the running game went south and the guy started getting hurt on the offensive line, well, that was the end of
Right.
That was it. Zach couldn't, he just at that point in his career, he wasn't ready for that. He couldn't handle it.
And the 3 and outs were brutal. Too many 3 and outs.
Oh my God! There's some of the stats. Those stats against
now the defense is like, okay, we're gonna. You would think have some sustained drives. I mean, look at the time of possession of this game. It was ridiculous. And that has nothing to do with the defense. Yes, they got him off the field, but the offense stayed on the field. So that was mind-boggling. And it wasn't Aaron Rodgers even. It's like just think about what we're begin to see, because it's really going to be weeks.
What would make us happy? It would make us happy in a game. It's going to be different if the Jets win 38-27, where the defense didn't play a really good game, gave up 27 points. Whatever team I'm talking about, found a couple of weak spots. Maybe Sauce, first time in his career, didn't have a good game or whatever, or Reed didn't, whatever the situation, or maybe they had trouble with the run. But when I'm looking at that game where the Jets win 38-27, where, it's like, oh my God, this is something to be excited about. Defense didn't fall flat in their face, but had a little problem and gave them more points than they ever want to give up. But the Jets still won by 11. You know what I mean?
Yeah. There's a lot
that's what I think we're going to see.
Well, look, by the way, the guy I forgot before was Steve Smith, from Carolina. He was the announcer. He did a good job, but he had to do the Homer thing too, but because it was their broadcast. But he made a good point in that he said Wilson, he was shredding it. He looked good, so he did what he was supposed to do. He saw the growth. So, but look, here's the crazy thing. Today is the 15th, right? Thursday, right, is the 17th, and Saturday is the 19th. A week from Saturday, right? A week from this Saturday is the last preseason game. That's it. So think of it that way. They have a game, this Saturday against the Bucks, and then the Giants. And then there's that week off, because they don't go right up to the end anymore. So today's Tuesday, right? So basically in 11 days, 11 days, all the games, everything is over. And then it's preparing for what the team is going to do, who's going to make the team. Not just the Jets, everybody.
Yeah, we have 2 weeks.
This is,
Right, you literally have 2 weeks for the Buffalo game, a little bit more than 2 weeks. So basically, you're going to have that week of whatever they're going to do, and then you're going to have that week away practice against Buffalo, come up with a game plan. Wow.
You know what, though? This game against Tampa Bay will be the tell-all one, because then it's the Giant game, and maybe Rodgers will get in a little bit. They'll throw a little bit to Garrett Wilson. But, they could save that for, practice too. It's not the end of the world. But
the Giants game is the 4th game. I think if you put anybody in, it's going to be the 3rd game, because the 4th game, I don't want to see anybody. I don't want to see anybody in that game.
The
You know
Giant
what?
game is the fourth game. That's it.
What's that?
Play for now.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
A lot of times when they do the Giants game, it's never the fourth game. Now it's the fourth game. I don't want to see anybody. I don't want to see anybody. I want to know. I don't want to know their names who's on the field
I know.
whatsoever.
You know, Vinny, it's crazy because everybody plays 3 now. But because Jets had the Hall of Fame game, that's why it's 4 for them, you know. So they have this extra week to fool around with, and that's this week. Because the last one is the 26th, the one against the Giants. And, you know, if Breece Hall is ready, he's going to get some snaps, you know. He's going to get some reps. And
I can see that, but in terms of if I'm going to see Rodgers, I want to see him this Saturday in the third game, maybe a few started. But that's it. I don't want to see maybe, like you said, a Breece Hall. Maybe Tittman keeps playing center, but I don't want to. I don't want to see anybody in that fourth game, really.
well, you know, no, he's not going to be ready this week, Breece Hall. Neither is Cook. That's going to be the Giant game, if anything.
That's what I'm saying. Maybe in the Giant game, yeah, but I don't want to see anybody else.
Right.
You know, I don't
Well,
want
I
to
don't want to
see.
see Rodgers this week, honestly. I don't.
No, we're not going to see him at all.
Yeah, you're right. I think you'll see him 1 or 2 series against the Giants. I do.
I say no. I say again a little. If anything, it's against the Bucks. I don't see him against the Giants.
But you see,
So
don't you want the old line to be hashed out and figured out before
what?
Saturday? That's
This is
Saturday.
such a different. This is such a different world, football. This is such a different time, even from 10 years ago. So what I say is, I'm sorry, man. You're going against a great defense. Figure it out in practice. That's me. Figure it out in practice.
Exactly. You know,
Now
You
they're gonna have a practice. They called one off, but they're gonna have a practice with the Bucks. You know, so after that, I'm kind of like, you know, just figure it out in your own Florham Park, and let's go.
it's still not full speed, and I don't think they take the quarterbacks down. So it's still not real, you know. But I think you're right. The only thing I don't like
After
about
running the plays and being in the right spots and having the vision and seeing even on the defensive side of the ball and figuring out and going against Rodgers and Rodgers going against CJ Mosley, that's pretty realistic though, you know. So, but I'm getting more like, you know, because it happened to Cleveland and it happened to us last year in a scrimmage. 3 guys. I don't think any of the Cleveland guys got carted off. We had 3 guys carted off in Green Bay scrimmage last year. So
well, this is a rough week. You're bringing up a great point.
yeah,
That's what I said it because it's 11 days. That's it. So you're going to amp it up right now. They play Saturday. So this offensive line situation, you're going to see a lot by after Saturday. If Becton starts at left tackle and gets the job done, you got to really say maybe he's going to get the job. You know, if Dwayne Brown still isn't there.
You're right. I think you're going to see these guys though this Saturday. So we'll see.
But I want, if I'm going to see Rodgers, for that to be worked out, if he's going to get out there at all. So they decide who the starters are, you know. So maybe the Giants, you know. But
The sport has changed so much.
yeah, Rex Ryan letting Sanchez go against.
I was just going to say it, you know. It's like really.
I like Rex, but it's like, why did you do that, dude? You know, he just, you know,
He needed. He was a organization that first season. Then he needed to shut up.
Well, look at the organization then versus now, right? That's what I said at the beginning of this one today. Top to bottom, look at what you had then. You had Idzit. You had nothing in terms of leadership, in terms of, you know, personnel choices, no strategy. It was just Rex Ryan trying to win the Snoopy Bowl, you know? And it's like, what is he going to do? He couldn't, his hands were tied. So I don't blame him for the way that ended, but he wasn't able to do what I think he might have been able to do with the right situation, you know. But
it just really kind of fell apart at the seams. Let's see, man. I mean, I think the structure's there, the foundation is there, and now it's time for it to happen.
You know, I tell you, coaches, fans, right before we sign off, you're gonna say the goodnight, right? But I say when, like Salah, he likes to see the tape. You got to see it on the tape. So coaches and us, the fans, we go by what we see. We see and we know what's going on, right? but we decide by what we feel, right? We decide what's going to happen by how we feel about it. There's something that you can't really explain, because if it's all there and they're all doing the work, we make that, like Becton looks good, but you and I were saying, you know what? We got a feeling maybe this guy keeps doing it. Maybe he'll win the job. So you go by what you see, but you decide by what you feel. That's what I think.
Oh,
So
that's why I'm taking my guess this year. I'm taking my predictions. I want to see what I want to see. I want to see Mike Clemens from the first snap, as long as he's healthy, destroy people. If you're going to go by what I keep hearing about him, he was the one Jets drive, the second episode. It all started with him, and
yeah.
with Mike Clemens,
With the club, he's coming in with the club and
yeah.
no chair on.
But
Out
on
of
one Jets drive, he was also he was getting meditation, and he
zombie
had
name, like yeah.
well, that's right. But he had a young woman who does psychology and everything, and the yoga and everything after the practice, calming him down. And then he sat up and he spoke. But this guy looks like he should be just destroying people. Let's say it. But that, like I said, that's a feeling I have. You know what? I just don't want. We'll leave it like this. I think what Jets fans are always afraid of. That game where they're out playing Buffalo. Oh, look at this, a tip pass. This
Get
problem.
that W, yeah.
There was a fumble over here. Oh, they had Josh Allen wrapped up. Oh, how did he get away? We just
Dalvin Cook looked good, but he fumbled when they were going in the end zone. No good.
right.
Oh, no shot. Not
But listen, the last thing I want to say for me is that what's incredible and what Saleh did from the get-go, and when JD brought him on board, people want to come to the Jets. People are taking less money. Cook had other better deals. I'm not saying he's the savior or anything, or he's going to make things so much different, but he had better deals, more money on the table. And let's not, I know they make so much money. Rodgers had made so much money. I don't care. He gave up $35 million, dude.
Yeah.
Gave up $35 million. We can't even imagine having a half of that or 25% of that. He gave it up. I know all the money he's made, and being in New York, if he's successful, the advertisement.
I told you, Namath and him together in front of each.
Oh my God, I get it. But he still gave up 35.
Oh, come on,
He gave up $35 million so they could sign a Cook. It's unbelievable. I'm sorry. I think it's incredible.
Look, and what you also said about Clemens and therapy and yoga. Well, you got Aaron Rodgers and the whole ayahuasca thing. He's into his own thing and his head too. So they're able to do whatever they want in terms of getting their head right, instead of just hammerhead do it. And Hackett seems to be like a good, funny guy. They have an environment, I think, that is conducive to them being themselves, but also being on the same page. And I think Salah's a master at all gas, no brake, and his little the crow analogy. You fly to the sky, the whole thing. All of that's great. It's all good stuff, and I think they have to respond though, Ben. But 11 days, that's it. 11 days, that's it, and then they're done with the preseason, and then it's just preparing for game one, cuts, what's going to happen. But it's exciting. There's no doubt about it. It's really exciting. So.
I said for the third time, the last thing, I'm enjoying it. I don't care. I don't want to hear, slow it down and calm it down. You know what? Who knows what's going to happen in September? Who knows what's going to happen in the first game? So the good vibes, AVT, you better be. I don't want to hear. I know that injury last year was nothing he can do, but right. I don't want to become one of those guys, where, this, that, the other thing, stay healthy. I hope he's okay. Lawson's been having some back issues. Bring him back slowly. We got time.
Right. These next 11 days are for those guys that want to push these guys and
right.
take their jobs to prove that they're capable of doing it. So if something does happen, somebody steps in. If Dwayne Brown isn't ready, and Becton is, and you're not going to see any drop off of good job Becton, So I think
that last game is going to be for the Brownlees, guys like that. who are on the cusp and look to
Yeah.
need to be cut. But hey, we'll see. Exciting, my friend, my
All
buddy.
right.
Good to
Got
see
it.
you.
Hard Knocks tonight. You know.
Rock and roll.
Yep.
Oh, I just hurt myself. I think I just strained my back. Hard Knocks tonight.
All right.
All right.
Hard Knocks, man. You know. All right. Sounds good. We'll see you soon, folks.
All right. Jets 55. Over and out, buddy. Over and out.
All right.
Boom.